being here in person. It means so much. And it means so much that we're all here to celebrate three incredible women. We are here to honor them, we are here to celebrate them, and we are here so that we can cultivate more of them. The NOW organization is a phenomenal organization that is out there fighting for the rights of women, fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ plus community, and fighting so that we raise all water levels, because when we do, every ship rises better. So that's the most important part, yes. So tonight is our big fundraiser event, which is why we have the silent auction, the balloon pop, and that wine toss going on, as well as there will be a live auction later, which if you guys haven't heard a live auction before, then you're probably not from the Midwest. But they're a lot of fun, and we have some incredible items that have been on that table that hopefully you have been salivating over. So, again, thank you all. This is probably one of my favorite events of the year, and to see everyone's smiling faces and to be able to actually be in the same room together, it means more than anything. So we're going to start off our event tonight with a land acknowledgement, and then we're going to just kick right into it. So please, everyone, welcome Lisa with our land acknowledgement.
Thank you all for being here. I am Amish, and my people are from the San Juan Islands, what you know as the San Juan Islands today. So I like to call this my land and people's acknowledgement. And this month is Native American Heritage Month, so it's very special for me to be able to give land acknowledgements during this time. So I will start. Let us take a moment to celebrate the voices of the Native Americans who have been here since time immemorial. In Washington State, it was illegal for Native Americans to gather off reservations in groups of 2 or more from 1894 to 1989. For too long, these local voices were silenced by fear. We recognize the Coast Salish people as the original inhabitants and stewards of the lands we live, whose values, art, and people add richness to our community. We recognize that most of the Seattle area is occupied Duwamish land, as the Duwamish people, some of them direct descendants of Chief Sealth, have not been recognized by the U.S. government. We recognize that the Suquamish and Muckleshoot people also view the Seattle area as their part of their historical territory also. Washington State is home to 27 federally recognized tribes and 29 tribes recognized by the state of Washington, of which the Duwamish is one. We continue to encourage state and local governments to work with the descendants of our indigenous people and work toward environmental and social justice. And since this is Native American Heritage Month, I am going to challenge you to learn something about the Native American community where you live and share it with your friends and family at Thanksgiving. So, thanks a lot. I believe that Chantel, my co-president this year, is going to lead us off.
Hello everyone! Hi. Thanks for coming. It's so great to see everyone here, and awesome to have everyone in person again. I started with the board 4 years ago, and so I had come on for our second Shero Awards, and so it's really, really exciting to still be here with our sixth and back in person. I was just going to go over a couple of our 2022 achievements that we're excited about and proud of as an organization. Some of you may know, some of you may not know, we hold monthly community meetings where we invite the community to come and learn about a certain topic. This last year they've been virtual, but we've actually held the most that we have since we started them, so that was kind of an exciting success that we had the most that we could. And some of our notable ones included how to run for precinct officer. We had one that was regarding how to save secular health care, and one regarding international trauma and Indian boarding schools that was actually hosted by our very own Kathy Taylor, who was our beautiful pianist earlier as well. We also had some really incredible legislative victories this year, including affirming the Washington State Abortion Act, which is very serious. We also lobbied and testified for the successful passage of the Missing Indigenous Women and Persons Alert, as well as the Working Families Tax Credit. We had many victories, and it's really hard to go over all of them. It's really inspiring for me and exciting to be a part of an organization that has such an impact on legislation for women, and really opens the door for women to do some things that they haven't been able to do before. I'd say let's give it up for the 2022 achievements for now. Okay, with that, I am going to bring up Lisa, who will introduce our first Shero.
All right, we are giving out 3 Shero Awards tonight. We like to recognize someone who is very known either in our community, or we have even recognized authors and people from other states. We like to recognize activists that have worked really hard and done a lot of work, but not gained a lot of recognition. And then we like to recognize people who are the worker bees. These are women that are in multiple organizations. They do a lot for each organization. A lot of them also have full-time jobs. You know, there's that old saying, if you want to get something done, give it to a woman who is busy, and it will get done. So tonight, I get to start off by introducing our celebrity Shero, and that is Estella Ortega. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Estella. She's one of the founders of El Centro de la Raza and serves as its executive director since 2009. And if you hadn't figured it out yet, we are we're Centro de la Raza. This is Centro de la Raza's space, and we are so happy that we are allies with them and that they were able to help us with the space so that we could have our awards tonight. Her social justice work began in the 1960s, protesting the Vietnam War, picketing for farm workers, working on political campaigns, and registering Chicanos to vote in the barrios of Houston, Texas. And, as I learned from talking with her tonight, she spent a couple of weeks in 1973 at Wounded Knee with the native people there. And, you know, as part of her Mexican heritage, she's also native and indigenous. So the fact that she's building allies everywhere is really important. For me, this is especially nice because I am part of Democrats for Diversity and Inclusion, which is a group led by Black PCOs from King County and around the state. And we started the initiative for I-1000 to bring affirmative action back. And Estella was the first community leader that wasn't Black to sign on with us. And through her, so many signatures were gathered in her community. And the great thing is, we got it to the legislature, it passed, And then there was a really confusing ballot measure, and it ended up failing. But as affirmative action in the state was started by Governor Daniel Evans in 1972, and Jay Inslee is continuing it forward so that there is affirmative action in all state government, and anything that has to do with Washington State, it is recognized. So, with that being said, I want to welcome Estella to receive our first in-person Shero Award in 3 years.
Thank you, Lisa, for that kind introduction. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right. I hope you're having a good time and that you're enjoying each other's company and, of course, enjoying the tasty delicacies over here, right? Okay. So I have prepared comments, and I'm going to start. So, queridas hermanas y hermanos, dear sisters and brothers, buenas noches.
They are, yeah.
Welcome to El Centro de la Raza, the Center for People of All Races, and Plaza Maestas with its beautiful art, creating a sense of belonging to the residents and to all who come to El Centro. This year, El Centro de la Raza is celebrating its 50th anniversary, our 50 years have been existence. Thank you. You are at the Centilla Cultural Center. In the Aztec language, Centilla translates to join together to become one. Tonight, we join with the Seattle National Organization for Women in supporting your work so that women can have the right to make their own decisions about their bodies, ending violence against women and the many forms that it takes. I send congratulations to my two esteemed sisters, Ms. Vienna, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Ms. Vienna, and Ms. Totsi Lane for your work in empowering women. Please give them a round of applause. I am honored by this Shero Award and all that it stands for. This award cannot be mine alone. When you organize for justice and fairness, many are involved in building that movement. This award belongs to the women who have been involved with El Centro, volunteers, program participants, community members, staff, all who are committed to fighting for our communities. I want to send a special mil gracias and abrazo to Ashley Hagen for nominating me as a representative of El Centro de la Raza. Ashley, please stand up and be recognized. Yes. Ashley, I'm grateful for your tireless work in putting your heart and soul into all you do for our beloved community. Ashley came to us as an AmeriCorps when she was very young, actually like 22 years or so, and she's been here all that time. Yes. The role of women in our Chicano, Mexicano, Latino movement started in 1972 with the occupation of the old Beacon Hill School, which became El Centro de la Raza. And the old Beacon Hill School is, obviously right out the door here. Women were active in the takeover of the building that became an oasis of hope. We had a place to gather and call home for our children and future generations. I am reminded of a Jose Marti quote that Roberto Maestas often cited. Roberto Maestas was our lead organizer during the occupation. It is for the children we work, for they are the ones who know how to love, for they are the hope of the world. At El Centro de la Raza, our staff is mostly women. Our leadership team is primarily women. And throughout the last half century, women have been at the forefront of leading our organization. Yes, thank you. Today we provide services and wealth-building opportunities through 43 different programs in the area of human services, education and asset building programs, youth and children's services, housing and economic development, along with advocacy and cultural work. On an annual basis, we provide services to over 22,000 individuals. We developed as a civil rights organization using various methods of organizing to affect change. Community advocacy work at a local and national level, electoral education work. We're proud to say that all year long we have been registering people to vote. And in the last several weeks, we did a Get Out the Vote campaign. And so we're proud to say that we were a part of winning Washington State for the right side of history. Organizing for life-changing human services, plaintiffs and civil rights suits, fighting for affordable housing, and providing support and solidarity to multiracial communities. We learned our oppression was similar, which united us. Through these methods of organizing, being deliberate about our social consciousness, we hold weekly seminars, which we call today charlas, which means a discussion, to learn about racism, sexism, why people are poor. Women learn to express and defend their views. Our courage and hope was developed when we marched, when we protested for justice. To this day, we still hold those charlas every week on Thursdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Wow. Yesterday, across the country, we defended democracy and pushed back fascism. The forces of fascism are not going to stop, but we have the numbers on our side. Our movement is growing stronger, our voices are louder, yet we know that we need to build a stronger, multi-racial coordinated movement. We must continue to fight every day and get ready for 2024 because they're coming after that and we've got to combat them. And the only way the reality is that we have got to get everybody voting. A philosopher once said, "The one who gives honor is greater than the one who receives it." We raise our hands to you, the National Organization for Women, for this prestigious honor. And most importantly, you have created the opportunity for us to work together, to put into practice our relationships to become natural allies. We raise our hands. I will end with another quote from Jose Marti. In a time of crisis, the peoples of the world must rush to get to know each other. We are committed to getting to know you and build together, becoming allies, so that we are a force that is helping push our movement forward. Thank you very much.
All right, now I am granted the opportunity to introduce my co-chair for this year, Chantel. And Chantel, I don't know your last name off the top of my head. Also, I want to take this opportunity to let you know we're having our annual meeting in December, and if you are interested in joining now, please talk to us afterwards. We would love to see you. All right, Chantel.
Thank you so much, Lisa. Wow, let's give it up one more time for Stella. work out of our organization. Okay, so I have the pleasure to introduce our second Shero. I'm going to... No. Yeah, you might have snuck them off me. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so our second Shero, her name, I am going to try my best to say it. Her name is Angi Otupu Vienna. She is an incredible Shero, and she's an unapologetic Fa'afafine and a trans woman from Samoa. She's the Deputy Director of Utopia Washington, which is an organization that is dedicated to creating a safe and supportive space for members of the Pacific Islander LGBTQIA+ community. She has been highly involved in the Trans Agenda for Liberation Coalition and has years of experience advocating for sex workers' rights. She actively sits as a co-chair for the first ever Washington State LGBTQIA+ Commission and is the co-founder of Trans Women of Color Solidarity Network. Since she was not able to make it tonight, I will share a little piece from her bio. Seeing trans people in love, starting families, and traveling the world brings me joy. She is undoubtedly a Shero, and I would like to bring up Adrienne to receive her award on her behalf since she could not be here today. And we also have a clip from our Shero as well.
Hello, my name is Amayotupu Isis Vienna. I am the daughter of Joyce Vienna Satsurde of Pampamo and Nal Satsurde Baigoa. I'm here with my mother, Joyuta, and under this dwelling that was built by my father, and I'm at my mother's village and her home. And I want to thank everyone that has made me into the woman that I am. Coming from a matriarchal society where women are valued and where men are comfortable in serving position, I was able to excel and I was able to flourish into American Samoa, which is part of the Samoan Islands, where trans people have existed since time immemorial under a different name. The name is Fa'afafine, which means in manner of a woman, and it's an umbrella term for all LGBTQ folks. It's more connected to our service to our families and our community and to the collective, but it's in Western terms LGBTQ people, and it's a term that means in a manner of woman, and we know that for all LGBTQ people, we are policed for our femininity, and so naturally for a culture that values women, for folks who fall outside of male and female, it's the highest compliment we pay by naming them Fa'afafine, right? Because of a culture that values women and the leadership of women. And I'm not going to say strong women because women are inherently strong, right? I also want to dedicate this award to the trans people, the cutie pies of Utopia, to my sisters who molded me into the leader that I am, and who I carried with me in the work that I do. I also want to dedicate this award to my sisters. I'm one out of 8 girls. There's many. My parents have many kids, and most of them are women, and so I dedicate this award to them as well. Some priorities that I would like to see, more solidarity around is fighting for the rights of women. I know the future is non-binary, right? That's the future we want to strive for, but in order to get there, we need to realize that the future is female. The future is feminine, right? And that the bodies, the reproductive organs of women have always been used to control civilizations. And so my liberation is tied to the liberation of women. So I would like to see a lot more solidarity between all women and all folks whose identities are policed because of their proximity to women, right? It's policed for their femininity. I would like us to see more work in funding innovative projects that address the basic needs of our communities, right? Regardless of how many opportunities we lay out for our people, if our basic needs are not met as a baseline, as a minimum, we'll always be kept in poverty. I would also like to see us be comfortable with discomfort, right? A lot of times we don't know what to do with people who cause harm, and that gives prisons and systems the justification they need to exist. So we need to hold men accountable, right? We need men at the table. I'm sure in this room there's mostly women. So we need men to hold other men accountable, right? Because we know the harms that we protect our women and children from are men, and the men are uncomfortable with holding other men accountable. And when they think that protecting us is by serving in protective services such as police, prisons, then we're not creating real safety in our communities. When the men that are policing our streets are creating the communication tools we use to communicate online, are not holding other men accountable, then it causes more violence in our communities. Also would love to see us to create more discomfort with the binary. We know that the binary is rigid. How rigid it is creates more violence for women, girls, creates more violence for LGBTQ people. I would like to see more solidarity between Turtle Island and U.S. colonies, right, as we fight for sovereignty. We understand that, we can't do this work in this country to liberate the U.S. when we don't also look to the work happening internationally. So those are some things. It's a big list, but I know we can do it. I want to give love to my people who have been divided for so long. I hope for a future where we can be reunited as one people. And so this award means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, especially as someone who's been molded by the women of my family. And so I dedicate this award to my mother as well. So thank you, and I hope you are all celebrating each other, and congrats to the other Sheros as well. I'm in great company, and so thank you again to the National Organization of Women.
So it was unfortunate that she wasn't able to be with us this evening, but so great of her to be able to send a video. It was very last minute, and so just really, really great to have her. All right, well, I'm going to now bring on our past president, and she's held several positions with NOW and is a superstar, Amber Bearden.
Amber. I have the distinct honor tonight of introducing our third and last Shero of the evening, Linda Tosti Lane. If you don't already know Linda, you will fall in love with her by the end of the evening. As Lisa said earlier today, it is not only the women at the top of the organization, but it's also the worker bees. And I think Linda has been a worker bee in the feminist movement for 40 plus years. She started as a member of NOW as a graduate student in Virginia, and she moved out to Washington more than 35 years ago, maybe 40 years ago. And she's been a member and a board member of the Seattle NOW chapter for more years than she can count. And this is actually the very first time that we're honoring a Shero that is in our own group. And the reason we're honoring Linda today is because she has taught many generations of women, of aspiring activists, how to make change in their communities, all while maintaining a full-time demanding job with the state too. Linda ingrained in me and dozens of other women like me that we can make change as ordinary citizens by changing the laws, by taking a stance and researching the issues and persuading elected officials to sponsor and pass bills. She is our local legislative guru, both in the Seattle chapter and the state chapter. So with this, I would love to have a warm welcome to Linda as our Shero for 2000.
To have been told when I was going to be receiving this award. I am very humbled to be recognized with my other Sheroes this evening. To me, what I have done here in Washington over the past 40 plus years has been spent doing what I have, as Amber said, advising all, especially our young activists, to do. Follow your passions. If you identify what gives you meaning, and work step by step doing even little actions, ultimately these issues that are important to you come to fruition. This may mean doing stuff that seems boring and not a big contribution. It can mean stuffing envelopes, making phone calls, asking for donations. And I'll be honest with you, I hate doing that. But I do it because every small contribution helps a cause. Or how about standing in the rain at a march or a rally? Do you enjoy doing that? Probably not. A bit cold out here in the Northwest. Writing letters, calling and leaving messages for your representatives, knocking on doors, registering voters, or many other small tasks. Each individual task contributes, and every little bit helps. Working with others in small or large groups is effective to get your issues heard and acted upon. You never know what impact you may have. For example, I did not think I had any influence with my legislators. I had been advised as a young feminist that if I wanted to accomplish movement on my issues, become involved in a party. Didn't matter which one, just become involved. So I joined my local Democratic Party and started to write my legislators about some issues associated with child abuse, because that was one of my passions. I subsequently went to a community town hall meeting and signed in. As the meeting was proceeding, a woman in the audience asked our representative a question. His response was, "I don't know the answer to your question, but I see that Linda Tosti Lane is here in the audience, and she probably could answer your question." I was shocked to realize that my legislator, first of all, knew my name, because I'd only written him twice. And secondly, that he knew the issues that were important to me off the top of his head. What this told me was that not many people actually speak up and out on their passions, and that their representatives can and do listen. Working in groups and coalitions is also effective. I was very concerned about After having worked for a number of years with abused children and their families, I was an employee of the state of Washington for 38 years, working in the area of child abuse and foster care. There were a number of cases where children had been injured by a parent or guardian who said they had not intended to hurt their child, but the intent was only to discipline. And our state law only said that reasonable and moderate force was allowed to discipline a child. But it didn't define what this meant. I felt this needed to be fixed so that families knew what reasonable and moderate meant and could guide them in the discipline of their children. So I worked with our local Child Abuse Council and now membership to help rewrite the state law. The majority of the rewrite was done by our local prosecuting attorney in Snohomish County. After our first couple of drafts, we worked through the Prosecuting Attorneys Association to put it on their agenda for the legislature. Ultimately, it took some time to get this law changed into law. It took a couple of sessions and advocacy on part of all of these groups. Now, Prosecutors Association, what was then called Northwest Women's Law Center and is now Legal Voice. To first of all, get this law written, and second, to identify sponsors in the legislature and other organizations to bring them on board to support and ultimately pass this law. And it passed. It takes patience and compromise while still keeping your eye on the prize. In my case, this was clear language which defines safety for a child. I also want to thank those who over the years have assisted with the legislative advocacy work in the state. Lonnie Johns Brown, who I look to as a mentor, she was a NOW's lobbyist for many years and being a sounding board when we needed guidance with the state legislature. Linda Malinchuk-Finnan and members of the Thurston County Now chapter who took action locally in Olympia and were available on site many times to lobby in person and to testify in Olympia. Tacoma Now and their work with the Women of Vision Group, whose mission is to provide encouragement and opportunities for women to improve their status and that of their families. And finally, to Seattle Now for their long-term advocacy and support for women and their loved ones here in King and Snohomish counties since 1970 through marches, public forums, providing essential items from toiletries to clothing for homeless women in our area, working to increase shelters and services for homeless women, and working to pass local ordinances and state laws and economic opportunity for all of us. And I would especially like to thank the committee that has worked over the past few years on the weekly legislative alerts for both Washington State Now and the 1st Legislative District. These women have put together the information you all receive weekly during our state's annual legislative session. Kathy Baylor, where are you? She's our co-legislative coordinator for Washington State and Seattle Now. And the women who have written the policy sections of the alert. In the area of reproductive rights and health care, that for the past couple of years, that has been Hannah Feebach and Linda Malinchuk-Finnan. On the area of economic equity and support for low-income individuals and families, that's been Kathy Baylor and Christina Henry. In the area of violence against women, that's Amber Cohen, who actually introduced me. On civil and equal rights, Lisa Weber, where are you? Right. And on education, Jackie McGordy, where are you? Again, thank you all for this honor. And remember, follow your passions. Every little bit counts in accomplishing your goals. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kirsten Geminer. If you're volunteering tonight, you probably know me. I'm one of the board members, and 6.5 years ago, Shero was just a twinkle in my eye, and this is really exciting to come for the 6th annual celebration. I have to tell you, the first person we honored was Sarah Weddington, the lawyer who won Roe versus Wade. And ever since then, we've really tried to raise up people who are changing the world. Abigail Echo Hawk, Rosa Franklin. I mean, we have had some absolutely stunning women on this stage. And I just wanted to thank everybody for coming out in this post-COVID land, IRL in real life, and thank you so much for being here. We are going to change phase now. Hillary Morales is going to come up and do a live auction. And I want you to think about every single woman who gave a speech up here tonight. Estella for her incredibly veteran activism. Ayo Tupou for her groundbreaking work, transformative work in the political scene. And Linda for being a mentor for so many people. You know, I actually didn't know you could write and pass a law. I helped write and pass a law because Linda taught me how. So thank you. We're going to have a live auction, and please give it up to fund all sorts of activities like these.
Thank you, Hillary. Always such a great time. She's such a great host and MC. We've had her a couple years now, and it's always just been an incredible time. All right, I would like to extend some thank yous really quick just to our sponsors and donors. Roy Hisu, if you wouldn't mind standing, has been a silver sponsor for us for several years in a row, and we really, really appreciate his support. A huge shout out to Derby Salon, who provided us with the grab bags that you guys will have. And this is Allison Etter, if she would mind standing. So this is who owns Derby Salon. It's a great woman-owned salon. So if you guys want to give your patronage, that would be wonderful. We'd like to thank Georgetown Brewery and Dry Soda, who have been sponsor or donors to our awards also for several years, and a thank you to our wine sponsor T2 as well. So I said earlier that I've been a part of this organization for a little over 4 years, and I'd like to kind of talk about how I got involved, why I got involved, and a little bit about our organization. When I came to the board, I actually had never heard of our organization before. Somehow it missed out of my history, or maybe I wasn't paying attention, who knows. But I was looking to volunteer somewhere, and the mission really resonated with me because I really wanted to help empower women who didn't feel they had a voice. When I was in 6th grade, I stayed at a friend of mine's house. She was my neighbor, and we shared a backyard. I woke up early in the morning to her brother touching me. At the time, I did not say anything, but as soon as I got home, I told my mom. And she believed me, and she took action. We got a restraining order against the boy. He was not allowed to go to my high school, which he otherwise would have, and he had to complete a really comprehensive therapy plan. I was really empowered by that. Even at the young age of 11, I was fortunate to have someone in my life that empowered me to feel like I could stand up for myself and demand justice. There are many stories out there that are far worse than mine. And unfortunately, countless women, and even men, don't feel empowered to speak up on issues like this. Whether it be sexual assault, domestic violence, workplace harassment, hate crimes, the list really goes on. And it truly pains me to know that some victims don't feel they have a voice. The founders have now started this organization because they didn't feel they had a voice. They knew they were stronger together, and they were determined to take action. While the origins of our organization begin with equal worker rights, now has evolved into the largest multi-issue feminist organization in the country. It was the first national organization to endorse abortion, and they've been fighting for abortion and access to birth control since 1967, and will now continue to do so. Now is the first they lobbied to pass important legislation to put in place regarding violence against women. They lobbied to have sex, sexual orientation, and disability added to federal hate crimes legislation. And Seattle now lobbied the successful passage of the Washington State Same-Sex Marriage Act and the Washington Reproductive Parity Act. It's really incredible what we can accomplish when we come together. And we've come really far, but there's still a road ahead. Many states are grappling with reproductive rights being dramatically rolled back. The number of missing and murdered Indigenous women across the nation is absolutely staggering. For Native women, murder is the third leading cause of death. And we must encourage lawmakers to take action on this issue. Hate crimes, hate speech, and domestic violence have been on the rise, and we've seen an increase in human trafficking, in which women and girls are disproportionately affected, making up approximately 70% of the victims. But looking in this room, I am hopeful. I see how many people came here tonight to celebrate our Sheros and the work that they have done. I see solidarity, and I see women who have fighting this fight for decades, and I see those who will carry the torch on for the future to come. I thank you all so much for coming together this evening, and I thank you to our Sheros for their dedication to women's rights. When we come together, we really are stronger. And I encourage you, if you're not already a member of NOW, to join NOW in this fight, and we can continue to make strides for the next generation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So, a lot of things were already thanked, so we're going to end off with a thank you to all of you who attended. The thank you preemptively to those of you who are signing up for your membership to the NOW organization. A big thank you to all of our volunteers who are working tirelessly before the event to get things ready. And a big thank you to Heather. Beautiful bouquet. Oh. As a huge thank you to Heather, the hundreds of hours that you put in on this organization's event, all the work that you did for the Shero today, I think we can all say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And man, did it pay off, because this has been an absolutely wonderful, righteous shindig. Am I right?
Yes.
So, as you guys finish up tonight, make sure that you clean up your area. Make sure that we take our items for the silent auction. Check out at the end to make sure you have everything taken care of. And last of all, thank Heather. Say thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you guys again so much, and have a wonderful night. Get